But first tonight, what sort of a country do we want to live in? It's something I've asked myself regularly, particularly since October 7, 2023, because since then it seems our values have been eroded daily by people who walk among us and seem to hate us, and by the left who are ashamed of our national pride. Now, it feels as if it's too far gone now in the face of a changing Australia, because Wednesday should have been a day of pride. On National Raise the Flag Day, the first time the flag was flown on the 3rd of September 1901. Instead, I believe it was a flashpoint moment. It descended into an absolute farce and was hijacked by lunatics like the Greens off the back of pro-Australia marches at the weekend. Now, we have so much to be proud about in this country, but I believe we are at a juncture. Because now, if you wave the Aussie flag, the left call you a racist. If you show pride in your country, the left call you a racist. If you want to put Australia first, the left call you a xenophobe. And if you question rampant, out-of-control migration, well, don't even get me started. Yet we have brought people into this country, some who hate us and our values and don't want to adapt to our way of life, and we profess that multiculturalism has been a success. Now, I don't doubt it largely has. We are a nation of migrants. But the common denominator in this decade is we've brought in people whose values are incompatible with Western democracies. And the weekend's marches for Australia proved just that. Thousands of everyday Aussies, mums and dads, took to the streets saying enough is enough. We want our country back. We are sick of our values being eroded. And because a small number of neo-Nazis rocked up and were booed by the masses, by the way, they didn't want these abhorrent individuals there, everyone who attended was painted with the same brush.
And the tone, of course, of much of the rallies was unfortunate is the best way that you could put it, but hateful in some of the extreme examples.
Marine Faruqi will speak more about the racist overtones of these rallies.
The anti-immigrant rallies on the weekend must be called out for what they are: acts of racist fear-mongering and hate.
I haven't seen a good fascist yet.
We absolutely condemn the March for Australia rally that's going on today. It is not about increasing social harmony.
Now, when our leaders ignore real and genuine worries by everyday Aussies by labelling them racist, it actually only gives life to those who hold those extremist views. Yet when these flags are flown, the Palestinian flag week in, week out, and those of terror groups, the left don't even bat an eyelid. They don't even care when the Aussie flag is set alight by anti-Israel protesters. Have a listen to Sarah Hanson-Young falling over herself.
Well,
that was her, well, it was meant to be her yesterday speaking here on First Edition on Sky News, and she didn't have a comment to say about the flag. She didn't want to talk about the Aussie flag being burnt. I mean, what sort of a country do we want to live in? And she thinks that setting the flag alight is dear to our democracy. Well, tell that to our brave soldiers who fought for us and continue to do so under the Australian flag, so we can actually have a freedom of democracy. And as I said, Wednesday was a flashpoint. And here is how National Raise the Flag Day played out in the Senate.
I was appalled by the footage of pro-Palestinian protesters burning our national flag.
If it's okay for Senator Nampijinpa Price to wrap herself in this flag, I would intend to wrap myself in a Palestinian flag.
No flags to be worn in the chamber until the matter has been resolved by the Procedures Committee, so I'd ask you to take the flag off.
Now, thank goodness for two of only a very small handful of politicians willing to show courage on this issue, Liberal Senator Jacinta Nampijinpa Price and One Nation leader Pauline Hanson, two women who love their country and aren't afraid to show it.
We are told we can't display it in our parliament on the one special day, which is our Australian Flag Day. And that's how gutless these people are. And I'll warn people out there, you keep voting for these bastards that actually don't have pride in our country and our Australian flag, then be prepared to get what we're going to get.
And gee, we need more of that courage and conviction. But how do we get to a point where our national flag is deemed offensive? The ABC even asked the question this week, what if we changed it?
What if we changed the Australian flag? Is it time for a fresh take? And has the flag we've got turned into something quite different from a flag of national pride?
And if that wasn't bad enough, it seems a public broadcaster thinks our flag is a big skit. Here's its Behind the News segment, teaching children about national pride this week.
There are still some mixed feelings about the flag.
What? Why?
Well, for starters, there's the Union Jack. Oh, yes, you did say you'd flag this for later. To some, the British flag is an important symbol of Australia's past. But for many First Nations people, it's a reminder of colonisation and the loss of their land. And a big percentage of Aussies don't have British ancestry, and some reckon we'd be better off with a flag that represents everyone.
Loss of their land? Better off with a flag that represents everyone? Well, how about teaching our kids to be proud of one flag, not flooding them with woke ideology? But it's politicians like Senator Price and Pauline Hanson who understand how many of us think and feel about where we're at. Because the quiet Australians have been left behind by this bolting horse that is captured ideology, as well as self-loathing under the guise of healthy and sustainable multiculturalism. And it's these voices like you at home who are silenced by Labor and the Greens as they paint the quiet Aussies as racist. National Senator Matt Canavan summed it up well today. He writes, "The isolated voices on our fringes are not the greatest threat to our social harmony. It is the powerful voices with an agenda to marginalise our unique Australian way of life." And as I said, I feel we are at a juncture. And the only way to claw it back from the left is to stand up proudly for our values. Fly the flag. Be proud of the flag. Don't be scared to show that pride. Because we're all Australian and we should be proud of that. And to those who walk among us that aren't proud, the door is open.